Hey, peace, world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. Some morning wood. Also get into some bite down boxing, and one of the I'm mainly doing boxing on Saturday mornings, 10:30 Eastern time. Gonna try to build something there for a minute, if you will. But one of the traditions, here on Pay Me No Mind, when I was in the service in the Navy, whether you were coming home from a deployment or getting out of boot camp, it was a countdown to the end, to returning home. And we used to say X amount of days and a wake up. So on fight weeks, on big time fight weeks, I've been doing 4 days and a wake up, kind of a countdown until fight night. I'm not gonna do any more this week. I'm pretty much gonna say what I gotta say today. But this is 4 days and a wake up for Errol Spence Jr., IBF champion and WBC champion, Sean Porter. I'll get into that in just a minute, man. I was almost tempted to do a live stream this morning because I got a couple of different things to touch on real quick. Some entertainment stuff. I'll get the shorter one out there very quickly. Tonight, Miss Simone Missick of Luke Cage. She played the detective on there. Misty Knight, I think was her name. Simone Missick, the sister with the impeccable skin tone and the just wonderful lips. She has a new series starting tonight on CBS called All Rise. I'm really hoping that the show does well, and I hope that it's a good show. I mean, I told you, one of the best kept secrets on TV right now is Gina Torres on Wednesday night on the USA Network in Pearson. My wife says it's boring as hell, but I guess I'm just a boring dude at this age. So check that out, Simone Missick. It's very rare for a black woman to be featured by a network channel, a prime network channel, out in the front of their program, unless it's something a little over the top, like the How to Get Away with Murder and the other one with Kerry Washington. But anyway, All Rise tonight, Simone Missick, and I think she's out of Detroit. I think that's where Missick is from. Second entertainment point, Retropolitan. I've been talking about this project for a couple of weeks, a month, maybe month and a half. It's been about a month and a half. And that one dropped with a joint project between Skyzoo and longtime, top hip-hop producer Pete Rock. I've listened to it a few times now, and I'm going to say a couple of things to keep it funky. But I don't want no smoke over it because I'm questioning a great. I like the album. I don't know. I've been talking about Skyzoo to a lot of guys, a lot of partners that say they like hip hop, that say they like rap, and that they're looking for this and they're looking for that. I've mentioned Skyzoo's name for 6-7 years now. I haven't had anybody take me up on my offer to check him out. Nobody's come back to me and said, man, Sky, Wood, Sky, that just hasn't happened. This project right here, in my opinion, it doesn't have anything on it that I can go to any of those people and get them to finally take a look at it. Me personally, being a huge production fan, I'm not disappointed. Maybe it's more just of a confirmation with Pete Rock. Again, this is putting my critic hat on. I think Pete Rock kind of has the same problem that A Tribe Called Quest had with their first 2 to 3 albums. They were so monumental. They delivered. They over-delivered in terms of the production, the sound, the samples that they were using, the way that the songs came together, the way that they were able to take all these songs, all of these different sources and put together these albums that had this similar strand throughout the album. Just really in depth production stuff. Probably nerdy producer sampling type stuff. And I think when we first heard Pete Rock, man, the music. TROY, They Reminisce Over You was probably a top 3 best produced rap song of all time. It's an iconic beat. And there was stuff that the Kings, Down with the Kings from Run DMC, the remix to Shut 'Em Down. It was a kid named ADOR back in the day that Pete Rock did a single for that was phenomenal. But throughout the year, but early on, we just heard his work on Illmatic. Just awesome production. And I just think listening to this album, it just kind of never went there for me. 10 Days is an interesting joint. 10 Days is one of the songs on there. It's actually it's a reference to Paid in Full, where I guess it's a conversation. First verse, I believe, is Ace or AZ Faison. The second verse would be Mitch. And it's them talking to each other when they had that conversation about how much money they were going to make and when they were going to make it in. They would be millionaires or whatever in 10 days. That's a dope song. The lead-off single, It's All Good, is very solid, very 90s with a nice updated touch on it. And then Eastern Conference All-Stars features the Griselda family along with Detroit's Elzhi. So these are all slick. There's some other songs on there. Like I said, I did a road trip down to something I'm getting ready to speak to in a minute. And I really took the album in. And like I said, I like it. I just can't sell it to anybody that I know, in all honesty. I think one of the other things, in terms of Skyzoo, I think one issue that he struggles with, not for me, but to his popularity, his widespread popularity, the people that aren't on his Instagram page showing all the love. I think one thing with him and a lot of New York MCs, their range of emotion is very limited. It's either cool or cooler. And then maybe they're in a reminiscing, in a spot where they're reminiscing a little bit. And maybe it's some joy or some happiness in those types of songs. But other than that, I'm just cool, I'm laid back, I'm slick. It's very narrow. And I think right now, when you have J. Cole, when you have Kendrick, some of the different dudes out there, Drake, he can switch it up quite a bit. It's a hard sell to just sit here and listen to, I'm cool. You look at Lil Wayne spazzing out on the Alejandro and all of that stuff. Like, you just don't get that type of performance and energy out of anything that Skyzoo was going to do. That's not a weakness for me. Like I said, it's some thoughtful stuff on here. It's some dope verses and whatnot on here. And lastly, I'll close it out with this. If I put this album alongside Eve from Rhapsody right now, maybe it's just a testament to where Rhapsody is with her game right now. But Eve might be a more well-rounded album. It just might be. Now that I've totally pissed some people off. Anyway, let's get to the sports. The University of Michigan dropped a game at Wisconsin. I believe that's Camp Ramble, 35-14, scoring 14 points basically in throwaway time. They had to pull Shea Patterson. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, man. For me, like Common said, it doesn't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. On the same token, it doesn't take a whole a whole day to recognize sunset. And I just think, for whatever reason or another, man, I think the team has and the players have tuned whatever it is that Harbaugh is teaching them and coaching them up on. I think they've tuned it out. It's just not a culture of excellence. It's not a culture of winning. I don't see the swagger. Very few of the athletes on the field actually jump out off the TV screen. They're just not dominant. You know, they're just not dominant individually, and they struggle collectively. And I just foresee. But and the thing is, they did Michigan a favor last week, leaving them ranked inside the top 15 after the Army game. And they probably did them a favor starting them out at number 8 going into the season. And Shea Patterson, and I guess for me, I wasn't going to be happy with Shea Patterson being the man coming back anyway. I have zero faith in that guy. In my opinion, he's just not a game breaker. He's not a difference maker. He doesn't his play doesn't jump off the screen. He doesn't make anybody better. And I was shocked that Joe Milton didn't get more time Saturday. McCaffrey took a big hit, and I think is going to be sitting down for a while. But just out coached, out schemed, and and quietly, man, Wisconsin is a team that I've rocked with the last 6 to 7 years because they've been the team through whatever means, whatever it took, however they figured it out, based on where they're located and the same recruiting issues that you would think Michigan would have. They've been able to overcome it and put a competitive team out there that could compete with Ohio State. Now, they haven't always been successful. I think they got beat up pretty bad. What was that, in the conference championship game? But we'll see what happens with Coach Harbaugh, man. But I think this could be the beginning of the end. Moving on to Bite Down Boxing. Saturday night in Cincinnati, Ohio. Actually, Covington. Was that Covington, Kentucky, or Newport, Kentucky? I think Covington. New Era Boxing Champs. The series by Wyatt Promotions launched. Go check out the article on BiteDownBoxing.com. Newcomer Messiah Snow looked pretty good in his debut fight. Adrian Benton, I believe, is a super lightweight. Had an interesting performance. Muhammad Abdullah, I think he's from Detroit. He's been active in the Midwest down here, especially in Kentucky. He's had a couple of fights in Louisville and then Northern Kentucky. And then Glenn DeZern Jr. was in the building, after returning to the ring after 16 months of inactivity. His lovely wife, the bigger than life, heavy hitting diva. Name escapes me at the moment. Franchon Cruz DeZern. She graced the ring. She actually cornered her husband in his fight against Juan Brienne. I got an interview with those two that I'll get up as soon as possible. I was working on the article yesterday and trying to salvage some of the pictures that I shot. Horrible lighting in there. I mean, I ain't no photographer, but damn, I did what I could. But check out the article again, BiteDownBoxing.com. You can get to that on from the Twitter account at BiteDownBoxing, as well as Instagram, the same thing at BiteDownBoxing. Real quick note, man, I saw some of the PBC show, coming in late from Cincinnati that night. With the New Era Champ situation, I called this out a couple of weeks ago about fans who complain about judging and what my solution is for that to be improved. And this was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I encountered it again at another club show. Sean Seymour, a heavyweight out of a hometown guy from Cincinnati, returned to the ring I think that was his third fight since 2017. Once in 17, once in 18, and now here, in 2019. He fought to a draw with a cat named Dion Hale, Dion Ronnie Hale. And in my opinion, Seymour won the fight. I look around at the judges. There was one guy who was a certified judge. The other two judges had other roles that they were supporting at the fight that night. And this is not a knock against Wyatt Promotions. A lot of club promoters, club show promoters face these same situations. But the people that were judging the fight were not really boxing fans. They were not really they probably don't have the history and the background with the sport. And it cost my man a victory. And I say this to say, we can't always be end users in everything. We can't always be end users across the board. So some of us sitting here complaining about judging and scoring and people getting robbed in these fights, there's a solution to that. Go and become a judge. The brother that I was talking to that was a judge, he told me how much he was getting per fight. And I'm sitting here like, why the hell am I sitting here trying to shoot photos and writing this stuff up when ain't no money in that? And my man was getting a nice money for 3 or 4 hours of work. Nice money. So the class that I mentioned, I think the time is fast approaching to when that's going to be over with. But if you do want to email me or contact me, paymenomindShow@gmail.com. I think I can still get you that information if you're interested in taking a look at becoming a judge or referee. A judge or referee. You don't want to pay to go to some of these smaller club shows? Well, get paid to go to them and be a part of the process. Help the sport out. Let me get into this. So what I was getting ready to say, I saw the PBC card, big knockout by Chris Primetime Colbert. I think that was first round too. Guy who hasn't shown us a lot of power before, but he caught him in that spot to where there's really not a lot. There's nowhere to transfer that energy when you get caught like that. And there was nowhere to go but for my man to go down. I didn't see the other fight in the Terrell Williams and Delorme. I think Delorme pulled that one out. I did see the main event, and Peter Quillen, in my opinion, hasn't been right in a long time. He was never the most mobile guy to begin with. For me, when he was super middleweight, I believe he was also a middleweight. He just was never the biggest, the lightest, the lightest guy on his feet. Anyway, and now his legs are completely gone. And I don't understand. Again, man, I guess I'm the only one complaining about these a fight of that magnitude with those two coming on at after midnight. It was FS1 though versus Fox, PBC on Fox. But my goodness. And I guess with college football being involved, I guess they fit it in where they thought they could get the best response to it. I guess that's that. Big win for Angulo. El Perro, I think is his nickname. I would not rush to put him in with anybody that's really lethal at a super middleweight. Don't put him in there with Caleb Plant or a Callum Smith. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Let's get on, man. Like I said, 4 days in a wake up to the PBC on Fox or Fox Sports pay-per-view. Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view, whatever it is officially. Saturday night, it'll be on pay-per-view. I think $75 is what the ticket is. I'm just realizing that I got to drive an hour to either Columbus or Cincinnati to catch it at a theater. What did emerge as an option is to watch it with my father-in-law, who he pays. I'll say that he pays, but his objective is not always to watch the fight. But he did contact me. It looks like the shout out, to Fox Marketing, with the ads flowing during the football games and the college football games with the Big Ten being on Fox. He did reach out to me and said, what are you doing about that fight? He's aware of the fight. And I think, so that's a good thing that someone that was watching old school boxing and is not a week-to-week fan with what we have right now, but he did reach out to me about this fight. So that's a bit of confirmation for, the marketing on this thing. And now Wood has an investor, a partial investor in taking care of this pay-per-view. Because I was on the fence of not. I was on the fence of just skipping it. Mainly because I got some trips coming up that I could use that money for my own thing. But let's get to it, man. 4 days in the wake up for Errol Spence Jr. and Mr. Showtime Sean Porter. I covered this on my Instagram account at waterbed_reg, REG. I try to speak to this. And what I'm looking for, man, is what we saw with the adapted or adjusted approach and game plan, the method of attack for Sean Porter, with him choosing to box a little bit more, to be outside on his toes a little bit more, not going inside, in reckless abandon, mixing it up. Not doing that, not doing that exclusively against Garcia or your Danish you guys. My question was, is this an aberration? Is this an improvement in other areas of his game? Is this an aberration, or is this a trend that the undersized guy is just questioning? Is it really worth it anymore? Is it really worth it? What I gotta take, what I gotta endure to do that, and to perform and win that way, is it worth it anymore? And I'm not gonna go back and watch the Kell Brook fight, but my man Lazy Lefty helps me out on BiteDownBoxing.com. He mentioned, what happens when all the elbows and head and this, this bull comes charging in against Spence. What does Spence do? I don't recall seeing a whole lot of that against Kell Brook. And then, like I said, now we get to a big fight with Danny Garcia and a title defense against you guys. And we just don't see that same commitment to that game plan. And furthermore, I don't think being inside and sprouting roots is what he needs to do here. I think a better attack would be getting in and out. Or, especially early, getting in and out, jabs to the body, and getting in and out. And I don't think that's really where he is with his footwork at this point in time. Maybe. But yeah, man, I just think he's getting older. He's been through a couple. I mean, he's been in there with quite a few guys. I mean, his resume is pretty solid. I don't think he's ever really sustained, the real bad beatings and built and accrued, a large amount of damage. But he's been in there. He's taken his nicks. But the thing here, in my opinion, and he's saying, I'm going to make Errol Spence Jr. punch for all 12 rounds. And I think to that, again, plays to the strength of Errol Spence Jr. One thing about Errol Spence Jr. is not going to be sitting back waiting on you to come to him. He's not going to be on the back foot looking to counter, looking to time you. Errol Spence is coming to you too. So it's gonna be a battle of wills. And that's one of the things with Spence. I likened him to Adrian Peterson. Nah, it's not a lot of sexy stuff going on with Errol Spence. It's not a lot of it's not a lot of all this and shaking off punches, and doing all this. It's all very fundamental and with a purpose. And it's a lot of offense. He's overwhelming these guys. You look at his last 4 rounds of work versus Garcia. No, he didn't get the stoppage, but steady, consistent work, landing 20 or 25 or more punches in the final 4 rounds of that fight. You look at how he blew away Lamont Peterson, quadrupling him in just 6 or 7 rounds of work, quadrupling him in landed punches. And again, those guys aren't necessarily Sean Porter. I get that. But again, Spence is just not going to be sitting back there letting you step to him and letting you rough him up. I mean, that's not in his makeup. And if Sean can pull that off, then I guess he probably gets the victory if he can do that, if he can impose his will. So, again, man, I don't really have a dog in this fight. Just looking at what I'm looking at, I'd have to put money on Spence. But I'm not mad if Sunday morning, the talk is what Team Porter was able to pull off. I'm really not. So that's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna leave it at that. I already went longer. I know I got a variety of different topics here that nobody gives a damn about. But that's what I do here on Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment. That's why it's entitled Pay Me No Mind, because obviously, anyway, that's that. Like I said, please check out the article on the new era boxing champs over at BiteDownBoxing.com. Get that a read, maybe share it, leave a comment, so on and so forth. Have a great day. It's a Monday. Kill it. And like I said, man, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Bite Down Boxing. Don't let them count you out.